My name is Jill Cole and I'm the director at Northern Heartlands. And Northern Heartlands is the creative producer for Creatively Connected, the one-year project which is part of Tees-Swale, Naturally Connected. And we're working with the Yorkshire Dales National Park Authority and North Pennines National Landscape. We've helped recruit the 5 artists who are delivering the programme. And it's very much a programme about creative inquiry, using artists to explore the issues around high nature value farming, around nature recovery in this particular part of the world. From our point of view, it's very much about showing how the arts, how creativity and culture can deliver on different agendas that are outside our own sector. This isn't about art in the landscape. We're not putting something in the landscape for people to come and look at and go away again. We're exploring through the process of culture and creativity how people connect with the landscape and tapping into the creativity that's part and parcel of all of our lives.
So through the course of this artist residency, Tim and I have been working with farmers and communities across Swaledale. One of the farms we've worked with for over 6 months is Hazelbrow Farm, working particularly with Kath Calvert. And what we've worked with Kath on is a series of activities and installations which are about supporting people to listen to the landscape. We've installed a microphone which has been broadcasting 24/7. Yeah, it's been an opportunity for people to kind of listen for long periods of time to the soundscapes of this particular part of Swaledale. As well as that, we've worked with Kath to explore this landscape, to understand the connection between the farm and the river, to know more about extreme weather events and how that's impacted on her experiences of farming. We ran a sound walk. We supported a group of people to come along and listen live to the sounds of both the natural world but also the human-made world within this part of Swaledale.
The wool has been the thread of the project. Wool as a kind of conduit or a lens for different conversations, and that's continued in pretty kind of interesting and dynamic ways, I think, and really thinking about the wool as this kind of living landscape and the way that you can unpack some of the tensions and complexities within this kind of landscape through conversations around wool. And most of that has been with people that are either working with wool or thinking about wool or farmers. So it's not really about thinking necessarily just about like wool as a material, wool as a way to kind of gather and to have a focus around a conversation.
I've been working across Teesdales and Swaledales and bringing different communities together in an informal gathering to hear their stories and challenges and how we can represent those to other audiences. I'm producing a body of 56 collages. I've also produced an interactive map that stays for the legacy of the project, created a zine. I'm also producing a fiction documentary film. It's about 30 minutes. What stands out most for me is these layered voices, like farmers speak about their challenges, communities speak about their belonging, and archives speak about the struggles in the past 30 years. I think our job now is bringing all these layers together and creating a coherent one voice across all these different layers of archive, community and farmers.
So for me, my entry point into the project has been engaging in the volunteer programme of the North Pennines National Landscape. So I've been working with the farming and nature team on plug planting, tree planting, seed collecting, thinking about nature recovery, conservation and enhancement. Around that, I've been having conversations with individual farmers, and that's taken a much broader perspective, thinking about how landscapes are managed to support peat recovery, to support the bird life in Teesdale. So it's been a real mix, in one sense quite holistic exploration, and on the other hand quite a hands-on kind of practice-led exploration of high nature value farming.
I think that what's been really interesting about this project is it brought together the practices of farming and the practices of artists. And what I've realised is actually there's quite a lot of similarities between the way artists work and the way farmers work. Farmers are often very time poor, so are artists. Artists are usually living off grants from the government, so are farmers, and they have a real passion for what they do, and they do it beyond just money and time. And there are more connections than you would think, and by working especially with Kath at Hazelbrow Farm, we've realised that, you know, our practices aren't that dissimilar. Just being able to practically work together and make things together on this farm has been a really interesting experience, and it's made me have more respect for farmers and also realise that farming practices can be really creative, can be led by aesthetic, and are just other ways of understanding the land, and the various interventions that we've done highlighted that.
It's already making an impact by giving back to the community their stories, their history and memories through these zines, collages and film that I'm making. These words of community is going back to them, for them, about them, and that's the beauty of this project. I think it also carries beyond the Dales by showcasing these works to policymakers, to people outside the Dales, to learn about the history and memory and the stories of farmers in this area, to remind them that farming is as much cultural survival as biodiversity.
One of the phrases that keeps coming out in conversations is balance, and I think one of the things that's come out through all of the conversations we've had is how interconnected many different issues are, and that's really been at the heart of the work that I've been developing. So the history that shaped the landscape, the policies that govern how it's managed, the economics of running a farm business, and some of the different choices that you're able to make as a result of that, and what's here, and kind of the seasons, how you have to work so much with the weather. We've had a very dry year. What's come out in the conversations has been how you manage all of those different, sometimes competing factors, and look after all of the different stakeholders, I guess, that live here.
I've imagined the people that I've met and the project that I'm doing as a sort of form of felting. You don't know when it's going to felt and when it's going to mat and when it's going to come together, but it will. With enough agitation, enough movement, it kind of comes together, and I do think it has done that in a way. And I think if you get into the fibres of wool, they are really incredibly complicated and unruly, and you can't control them. I think my project has worked like a sort of metaphor for felting in a way, and I like that.
Yeah, it's fascinating because they're seeing things from a different perspective that I wouldn't normally think about, and it kind of makes you more aware as to what's going on around you. So I think it's amazing.
So working on this project, I've engaged with so many different types of communities, people from different ethnic backgrounds as well, different cultures, and it helps to connect the farmers here with people outside as well. They're on a farm most of their lives, so it's nice to connect with people outside.
I think it's added value to Tees-Swale in the way it's allowed people to engage with both the area and the high nature value farming of the area. That might be quite a dry subject if you just launch straight into it, but I think if that's linked in with some artistic inquiry, or it can allow people to engage with it. The high nature value farming of the area is really important for supporting the habitats, and getting people to engage with it allows them to value it, and if people value it, one step closer to that being helped to be preserved.
Looking forward, we're really hoping that both of the organisations, North Pennines National Landscape and Yorkshire Dales National Park Authority, are now going to be thinking about using arts and artists in different ways and seeing the potential that there is for those partnerships to move forward.